Let's get to the East. The East, we've already been talking about Duke. And look, Dalen, it stood out to me the minute we got this reveal. All of a sudden, every big brand you could ask for in college basketball in one. You got Duke, you got UConn, you got Michigan State, you got Kansas, you got Louisville. It's like you get a brand and you get a brand. They're all here.
You left out UCLA. So Bruins fans are furious. St. John's. I mean, it's wild how many brands. Now, just because you have big brands does not make equal quality teams. Now, UCLA's got some injury issues of their own. We'll see about them. UConn is not playing as well as I thought they would. Michigan State is going to be a problem in that 3 seed. I do think that overall, it's going to be, for me, it's Duke and Michigan State in that Elite Eight game, if Duke is fully healthy, and I think Duke's going to get there. I think they get to the Final Four. The question, can you win all 6? But the brands in this group really jumped out at me, and the Hall of Fame coaches. Last of the 4 or 5 matchups, St. John's, Kansas, in a second round matchup. That's an amazing matchup, and either one, it's a coin flip game in my mind.
Yeah, and the game I'm watching is this USF and Louisville game. I think that Louisville is in very dangerous territory messing around with this USF team. Because when you look at it, they love to play fast. USF top 20 in the country in tempo, but they are top 10, 7 to be specific, in offensive rebounding percentage. And they play an extremely efficient brand of basketball on the offensive side. They don't take a lot of mid-range jumpers. They get to the rim. They shoot threes. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful shot diet, as I talked to a coach earlier who framed it that way. But I think that the way that Louisville is playing, especially with Mikel Brown and his inconsistencies, right? I think that this could be a game where Louisville could be in trouble and USF could pull off this 12-5 upset.
Go ahead.
Mikel Brown, you mentioned his inconsistencies. Last 11 games since he got back from injury. 7 makes, 1, 7, 1, 2, 14, 8, 11, 5, 9, 2. No consistency at all, King, from Mikel Brown. A potential top 5, top 10 pick. We'll see how he deals with his injury this tournament right now. But when he's in the zone, he looks like a superstar. But there's so often that you get 1 make or 2 makes, and you're wondering where he is in the game.
And as you mentioned, he didn't play in the ACC tournament with this back injury. He missed time in the middle of the season. Also, this is a freshman playing in this tournament for the first time. That stuff does matter. That factors. So I think South Florida is a live underdog, to say the least.
Talk to me about that. What's it like to be a player that's making? I mean, as you mentioned earlier, I'm not dunking on anybody. So what's it like being a player making your first tournament game debut? You
know, it's either you're made for it or you're not. Because when you look at it, this is the moment that every kid dreams of. All right, my first time in the big dance. We played Yale. Dalen talked about this when we were all off camera.
My bad. Sorry, had to bring it up.
I had to say that Dalen picked against us. It was Baylor and Yale. I think we won a 12-5 actually.
Yeah, 12-5.
We won a 12-5. Baylor versus Yale. My first experience. I only played about 5 minutes that game. I had a free throw, but all I know is Makai Mason, who ended up being my teammate my senior year, he went for 30. It was one of the nastiest 30 balls, all mid-range jumpers, one-on-one isolation basketball, and he took us to school, and we were on the television screen, and we got upset. So either you're made for it or you're not. Makai Mason that day was made for it. My teammates were not made for it. It's also the day that Torian Prince went viral with the rebounding clip, right? But either you're made for it or you're not. So when you're a freshman, those lights get even brighter because all of the attention, all the focus on that day is on you, and you feel it from when you step off of that plane. When you step off the plane and you're getting greeted with all the March Madness paraphernalia and all of that stuff, you feel it. So either you're made for it or you're not, and we'll learn a lot about a lot of these young guys.
The coaches in this bracket are certainly made for it. 31 combined national championships in this bracket alone. Now, one player we're going to find out quickly if he's made for it is Darryn Peterson, who is also in this bracket. Kansas in here with one of the phenoms that we keep talking about all year.
I mean, that's got to be one of the storylines from a draft standpoint to watch. Darryn Peterson and his health. Enters college, 6'6", drawing comparisons to the Black Mamba. DP got a new nickname though, DNP. And that's unfortunate because 83 of his possible minutes have been played in the first half, 64 of all possible second half and overtime minutes he's played. So we are not seeing him play in many second half minutes. Kansas, with Peterson off the floor, has a better offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating, free throw rate, assist percentage. They are a better team statistically and with the eye test without Darryn Peterson out there. It feels like a team that has better flow. So that's different though, right? Kansas is 3 points per 100 possessions worse than Darryn Peterson. BYU is 15.8 points better with A.J. DiBanza. Duke is 13 better with Cam Boozer. UNC was 9.7 better with Caleb Wilson out there. So Peterson being worse, Kansas being worse with Peterson out there is an outlier for some of these top-ranked players in college basketball right now. And he's playing a lot now. and he's not playing well. Is this a bad
Yeah.
thing for Kansas right now, or do you have any hope that he's going to turn this around?
I think to your point, KLC, though, in these moments, you need a guy like Peterson, though, who can bail you out of certain situations. We saw that in the Kansas-Texas Tech game. Darryn Peterson did not play well that whole game, because I agree with you on the whole DNP, all the antics. I'm not here for it, right? But in that one game showed us that Darryn Peterson can go a whole game, not play well, and then the last minute of the ball game completely take it over with the shot-making ability. So I think there'll be certain situations in which when Kansas gets in trouble down the stretch, Darryn Peterson might be able to bail you out with his shot-making ability. But you're right, though. As the minutes have increased, his efficiency has decreased. I'm a little concerned about that. Could this come down to a chemistry issue? But his shot-making ability is something that I would love to see in March down the stretch.
You get him for a reason, for those moments. And
Yes.
this is where he could prove, like, oh, no, wait a minute, he actually is the
Yes.
number one pick.
This is your opportunity to flip the narrative.
Yes.
The lights are the brightest.
Yes.
Everybody's focused in. You're probably going to be playing St. John's in the second game. What are you able to do in this moment? Now, that said, Kansas as a team has to defend first and foremost. They are top 10 in the nation in defensive efficiency. When they don't show up and compete, they're not good enough offensively to just overwhelm you. And we haven't seen Peterson be able to put the team on his back, with the exception of that Texas Tech game. That last minute, he made 2 threes that
Yes.
nobody else, maybe in the country, is making off the bounce and the situation he did on the road.
So let's look at the East as a whole and figure out what everybody really wants to know. Who's going to be the big upset? Who's the team to watch? Who's the Cinderella King? Give me somebody you like, a game that you like in this bracket.
Well, I'm going USF over Louisville, but in the second round, I have TCU beating Ohio State. All right, then I have Duke beating Siena. So I have this TCU-Duke matchup. I think with as hot as Duke is playing, with as banged up as hot as TCU is playing, as banged up as Duke is, I think TCU has a chance. Because when you look at it, they have options to be able to throw at Cam Boozer. I'm not saying that they're going to be able to completely shut him down. You're not shutting down a player of that caliber. However, when you look at Michael Robinson, you look at Punch, you look at what big fella Xavier Edmonds is doing down low, I think they have options to be able to throw at Cam Boozer, especially if Gongwe isn't 100%.
TCU was on the bubble. They've won 10 of their last 12.
Yeah.
And they have quality wins. They beat Iowa State. They beat a good Texas Tech team. They beat a Cincinnati team that was desperate. That was a bubble game. They've continued to prove themselves time and time again late game. I don't think they're beating Duke, though. But because I think Gumba's going to be playing in that. Like, I don't even know if he plays in the 16-1
Well,
game.
he needs to be healthy, though.
He's a huge question.
Yeah.
He's the biggest question. I think they can survive past TCU without him being 100%, or if he doesn't play in the 16-1 game, we will see. That said, I think that matchup is interesting. I think Michigan State, UConn at the bottom is going to be great. I think Michigan State ultimately, I think UConn's just not playing their best basketball. They have not hit the peak offensively where they need to be, and defensively, when they're inconsistent, they have a real issue.
All right, so let's give a pick. Let's get a region pick. We're going to get you our Final Fours and championships at the end of this, but let's go through the region. All right, KOC, who you got coming out of this region?
I'm going with Duke. I mean, like Gongba or not, I'm picking Duke. Led by Cam Boozer. They have Patrick Gongba if he does return. Isaiah Evans, didn't even mention that name. Isaiah Evans this year, we know we can catch fire. 32 points in the ACC tourney against FSU, 20 against Virginia in the final. He's blocked 12 three-pointers this year, second in the nation behind Ejiofor with St. John's. Isaiah Evans.
King, who you got in this one?
I'm going UConn. I'm going UConn. I love what they do in the backcourt with Silas Demery and Solo Ball. And Caravan is a leader that understands how to win in big moments. That cannot be overlooked.
Caravan has won 2 championships. You're right. That's and obviously Danny Hurley on the bench. So I get that. But Tom Izzo's got some things he's done too. So I'm still going with Duke. I still think ultimately they just have more weapons than they do have the National Player of the Year. So to get out of that region won't be easy. This is a tough draw, but I think they get out.
I don't trust Duke's health. I don't trust Michigan State to shoot consistently enough.
Yes.
That worries the heck out of me. And mostly, I live in Connecticut, and if I really want to go to Sayulita's, my favorite Mexican spot, Hurley's there all the time. I don't want to deal with not picking him, so I'm taking UConn. This was a very simple bias.
This is a real bias
Look,
pick.
I'm just letting you know, like I don't
wanna
want
hang with Hurley.
I don't want to go to Sayulita's and not be able to get a seat, so I'm taking UConn. We'll see. We'll see out of this.